Hello, LS. Good to see you. Hi, Lori. Welcome. Hi, Sharon A. Welcome back. Hi, Shoshana. Welcome back. Hi, Laura. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Fran. Hi, Barrett. Good to see you. Hi, Karen. Hi, Mickey. Hi, Michelle, the artist. Hello, Patricia. Hi, Carrie. Welcome back. Hi, Darren. Welcome. Good to see you. Hi, Terry. Welcome, Kathy. Hi, Zena. Hi, NC. Welcome. Hi, Jane. Hi, Mary Lou. Good to see you. Hi, Janielle. Good to see you. Hi, Megan. Hi, Carrie. Good morning. Hi, Sharon B. Hi, Kelly. Welcome. Hi, Megan. Hi, Pam in Brighton. Good to see you. Hi, Dahlia. Hi, Virginia. Hi, Ruth. Welcome, everyone. Good to have you here. Hi, Helen. Hi, Dean. Hi, Elena. Welcome. Hi, Michael. Good to have you back. Welcome, everyone. My name is Kelsey. So happy to have you here today for the Jewish tour of Valencia. Oh, thank you, Megan. My glasses are prescription. I cannot see you without them. Oh, hi, Tamitha. Hi, SK. Welcome, everyone. Happy to have you here. So, welcome. You can see I turned on the location button. Finally, I have worked it out so you finally can see where I am. Thank goodness. Um, in terms of using the platform, if this is your first Hago tour, welcome. Happy to have you here today. You have all of the comments popping up there. That's how you let me know we can't see you, we can't hear you. Thank you for the earring comments. I appreciate it. And oh yes, so we have finally reached our 2,000 followers. I'm so excited. I will be scheduling the opera concert this evening, I think. Not for this evening, but I'll be scheduling it this evening. Hi Maria, hi Lorraine, hi Dawn. Good to have you here. So excited again. Yes, thank you all for all of your following me and all of your coming to all of my tours. It's been so nice to get to know all of you. Hi Scott B. Hi Anne Marie. Hi Jill. Hi Margie. Hi Lynn. Good to see you. Hi Carol. Welcome. So today was going to be very interesting. I can't be as upbeat as I normally am due to the content of the tour, but I will do my best. Hi Tariq, welcome back. Hi Jill. Hi Bev. Welcome everyone. Oh yes, I will, Carrie. He's actually not with me right now. He is out for tapas with friends. I am the most jealous. Oh, Maria, you're in Estonia. So do you say Estonia or Estonia? The first one or the second one? I have heard both here, and I would love to know what you say. Hi, Deborah. The second one, Estonia. Okay. Hi, Lynn. Good to have you here. Shoshana, well, you repeatedly. I'm not sure what you mean, Shoshana. So welcome everyone. Again, my name is Kelsey. For those of you who don't know me, I am originally from Portland, Oregon and Chicago. And my husband and I moved here to Valencia, Spain in February. We're loving it. It's finally not so hot, which is wonderful. Oh, will I be repeating this tour? Possibly in the springtime. I have scheduled myself so many tours for these next 3 months. I don't know how I'm even going to sleep. But yes, I will do my best. Hi, Kathy in Dayton. Oh, that's where my brother lives. How cool. Hi, Barbara. Hi, Robin. Welcome, everyone. So, welcome to the official Jewish Heritage Tour of Valencia. Let me preface this with I am currently not religious in any way, shape, or form, but I do know a lot about Judaism and the Jewish faith here in Valencia, the Jewish community here in Valencia. So, if I say anything wrong, or if there is something that the Jewish folks, you Voyagers, have to add, please feel free. As you all know, I love your input. I personally am not religious in any way, shape, or form, so I am doing my best to present the information in more of a factual manner, if that makes sense. But as always, if you have questions, I will do my best to answer them. So, now that you've all seen me, let's go ahead and turn this around just in terms of what we're seeing. We're going from the newest to some of the oldest. What started your interest in this, Kelsey? Lynn, I was hired by a museum in New York to do one of these Jewish heritage tours. So I'm repeating that because I thought, well, if people over there want to see it, I suppose my Voyagers might want to see it too. So you will be seeing a lot of pretty Valencia today. Although I do have to say, in terms of more of a serious issue, the violence of absence of Jewish uh, things to see here is more of what we're talking about today. But I do have some really pretty things for us and a lot of stories and history to go along with that. So now that you've seen me, let's flip this around. Okay. Welcome everyone. Happy to have you here. My name is Kelsey. This is the Jewish Heritage Tour of Valencia. We are in Spain today, which is we are in Valencia, Spain. My maps are working. Thank goodness. The postcard options are working today. So happy. But as always, I will post a little map for you. As you can see, in the European map, Spain is in the lower left-hand corner in the green, and then you can see the big map of Spain where Valencia is on the Mediterranean coast on the east part. We're about 2 hours from Barcelona and 2 hours from Madrid on the train. Let's go vertical. 3, 2, 1. Hi, Adrian. Hi, Nicole. Welcome. So I just wanted to show you this in its full vertical glory before we go a little bit up to it. Okay, let's go back. 3, 2, 1. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So we are currently looking at what is the most modern form of sort of Jewish heritage in the city of Valencia. One of the main reasons I started here is because it is the farthest away. The other main reason is because we are going to start from way back in history. And yes, it is an Art Deco building. So let me tell you about this building. This is the Casa Judia, or the Jewish house, and it's actually a residential building. So people live here. I know, isn't it stunning? People live here. This is just a normal quote apartment building. The architect was hired by a guy named Jose Salom. So most likely the name of its owner of Jewish origin. So he was hired to make this resemble not a synagogue, but with a lot of Jewish attributes, shall we say. The main one being the Star of David here on the front. Hi, Danielle. Hi, John. Hi, Julie. Hi, Wendy. Hi, Leanne. Good to have all of you here. Let me get a little bit closer for us. So this is, again, an Art Deco building that was built in 1930. It has 7 floors. It does have an attic. I would love to be able to say that, yes, this is the place where we have community gatherings and we have meetings and celebrations. However, it is only an apartment building, which, as we will see as we go along here, this is probably one of the only buildings that is currently still standing that is dedicated to the Jewish community. 1930, so 1930. Let me give you one more quick view of the whole thing, and then we're going to scooch along. I just couldn't miss this house. Let's go vertical again. 3, 2, 1. Again, Casa Judia, which is the Jewish house here in Valencia. And this again was built in the Art Deco style of 1930, and you can see a lot of different beautiful geometric shapes on the building itself. Let's go back. 3, 2, 1. Joy, I'm intrigued by your question. I don't know if there are Jewish people who live in it. I would hope so in order to sort of celebrate, but I don't know. And we're actually going to get into why I don't know, because that is not, as you all know, I'm all about the research. It's not for a lack of trying to know. It is more because of folks here even now are hesitant to talk about religion. So not in a way that, oh, I'm not going to tell you, but like in a way that they don't want to say what religion they are. But as history has shown us, folks who are of the Jewish community are often the first people to be persecuted in any way, shape, or form. And Spain is no exception to this. So, yes, so now that we have seen the Casa Judia, the Jewish house of Valencia, we are going to walk all the way up to the Valencian Cathedral, where, oh, who just said it? NC, you have given away my secret of the tour. There is actually a Star of David in the Cathedral of Valencia, and it is on the front and very large. So we are going to head that way. But as we walk, there are some beautiful things to see. You can't miss it. I know once you know it's there, you go, oh, wow, that is, yes, that is definitely a Star of David on our Valencian cathedral. So let me sort of go way back and talk about the first evidence of Judaism that we have here in the Iberian Peninsula. The earliest evidence that we have found came from graves and gravestones from roughly 2,000 years ago. And as you all know, Valencia is a Roman, a Roman town, and started also about 2,000 years ago. So that leads us to conclude that there has always been a Jewish community here, a Jewish presence here. This is a more affluent part of town. It's beautiful. Oh, excellent question. So we are down by the Bull Ring and the train station. We're actually going to see it right now. So the apartments here are a little bit more expensive just due to the fact that we are so close to the downtown area, this beautiful section with the Bull Ring and the main train station. So let me tell you about a couple of the earliest pieces of evidence we've found. So looking back at some of the gravestones, the earliest grave that we found here was from a girl that was 16 months old when she died. Very sad, very, very young. And this was in a town sort of south by Granada. So not up here, but again, the Iberian Peninsula, which is currently Spain, Gibraltar, and Portugal, did have a significant Jewish presence. It was about 9% of the population as it grew. So the evidence that we have from way back in early days, but in the area of the Jewish apartment building, are there any Jewish kosher stores in that area? Oh, excellent question, Barbara. So, to answer your question bluntly, no. And the reason is that Valencia has a violent absence of evidence of the Jewish community here. And so that's what I would like to share with you today. I will be showing you sort of where things used to be and what they are now. We'll also see a lot of beautiful Valencia in the meantime. So first of all, here's our bull ring. I know it is very sad, and as you all know, I am a very bubbly, outgoing person. But this tour will be a little bit more reserved, I should say. So there were a couple of interesting laws that I found back from the 4th century. The first one was that Catholic girls were not allowed to marry Jewish men. So this did not happen out of nowhere. As we all say, like rules come into place because somebody had done the opposite of what they were supposed to be doing. So the fact that Catholic girls were not allowed to marry Jewish men tells us that Jewish folks, Catholic folks, Christian folks were all living in this same community. They were all farmers. They were all craftsmen. They were living together and enjoying their lives together. They were, perhaps there was some benefit to their families joining, so to setting up their Catholic daughters with their Jewish neighbor boys. And if you note, the law does not say that Catholic men can't marry Jewish women. It only talks about Catholic women can't marry Jewish men. Any ideas as to why this only revolves around the women? Why would they say absolutely nothing about the men and have very strict written out laws about the women themselves? Easier to tell a Jewish man. Interesting. Oh, such great guesses. Yes. Okay, wonderful. So, indeed, when a woman married a man back in the 4th century, she took on whatever religion, whatever cultural practices that he had in his life. So people were not concerned about Jewish women marrying Catholic men because that would just expand the Catholic population. They were concerned about Catholic girls being sort of taken into the Jewish community. So that also tells us that that these communities did live together basically in harmony for quite a few hundred years. Then also there were some punishments if the parents did not abide by these laws. The couple that was set up were shamed for the next 5 years. So, and in most cases, it wasn't even their fault because they were set up by their parents. So, basically, setting them up for failure, if you will. Oh, excellent. I'm loving all of your comments. I am. It is a very busy evening, so I apologize if I don't address all of your comments, but feel free to chat. And if there are questions that I missed, please do repeat. So, another law that we found was canon number 49. And this was sort of a complicated law, but basically it said that Christian landowners should not be asking for blessings for their crops from their Jewish neighbors. It would make the Christian blessing null and void. And everyone, this shows us that everyone was concerned about the success of their crops. Everyone wanted their crops to grow, to flourish, to make money, to feed their families, and they would have their crops. Oh my goodness, there are skateboarders everywhere. It's like a parade of skateboarding. Oh my goodness. So this shows us that families, when their crops were growing, they asked for blessings from the Catholic clergymen, from just about anyone who could bless their crops. They would gladly take it. They would say, "Yeah, more blessings, the better." I mean, how would that not make sense? And this leads us to assume that the Jewish folks and the Christian people were living together again in harmony here. However, the law continues. So if anyone should unlawfully presume to do so, they shall be expelled from the church. So in other words, this tells us that they had blessings from the Catholic community, and then they said, "Oh, hey, neighbors, you are part of the Jewish faith. Would you please bless my crops?" They said, "Of course." For those of you asking about where we are in the Plaza del Ayuntamiento, which is our Oh, look at this. Oh, they were dancing. This is our main square downtown. As you can see, it is very busy. Let me just show you the crowds and then I will get back to the story. But as you all know, we are in a very busy part of Valencia here. This is our town hall. Are we dancing? Oh, this is cool. Yay! That was neat. And look at all the people watching them too. I know I love watching dancers also. Um, so another law was that I know, wasn't that cool? Another law was that clerics were not allowed to, quote, take food with Jewish people. Clerics meaning clergymen of the Catholic or Christian faith. So does that mean that sometimes a bishop or a local priest would go out with a Jewish neighbor, maybe going, hey, let's go get a tuna melt? Probably not. But the evidence does not suggest this. But what we do see is that clergymen were attending Jewish celebrations and ritual meals. So this more suggests that clergymen were invited to meals on the Sabbath, to holiday meals. They didn't, and also they didn't just show up uninvited. They were welcomed in and accepted amiably. So the punishment for this is that if they dared to break bread with Jewish families, he would be kept away from communion. I know, very, very sad. Another law, then we will get into more of how all of the lack of evidence happened here. Yeah, and see, that's a really good point. The laws reflect this relationship that was then thwarted by the government. So the people who were living here, as they say, hatred is taught. It is not something we innately know. So another law from Roman times, as you all know, I give tours about the largest brothels here in Valencia, or in Europe. Actually, my next one is coming up too. It's I think it's the weekend after next. And that also is a very adult-only tour, just FYI. But going off of that, the Christian men were not allowed to commit adultery with Jewish women. Now, surely they weren't allowed to commit adultery with Christian women also, but the church had bigger concerns. This was not an issue if a man married a Jewish woman. As we talked about earlier, the woman would follow any type of religion or traditions that her new husband decided that's what they would celebrate. However, if a Christian man had an affair or had relations with a Jewish woman, not under the normal constructs of daily living, so outside of marriage, basically, that could have produced an heir, that could have produced a child. And that child would have been lost to the church, living with the Jewish mother, celebrating Jewish holidays and traditions. So, what we gather from all of this is that the Jewish people in the late Roman Empire were well integrated into their surroundings. They were probably farmers, they owned land, they lived in cities, they had active and integral parts in society. Oh, thank you for your donations, everyone. And they were living comfortably among their neighbors. They were entwined in each other's daily lives. So the Roman Empire fell in year 476. And just the shortest of background of that, basically the Romans and the Germanic tribes from up north were getting into skirmishes. Thank you, Barbara, much appreciated. And these Germanic tribes had once been seen as their allies. And Rome itself fell in year 410. So about 60 years later, the Roman Empire was then split among all of these different Germanic tribes. And the Iberian Peninsula, which is where we are. Oh, thank you, Barbara. Much appreciated. The Iberian Peninsula, which again currently is Spain, Portugal, and Gibraltar, was taken by the Visigoths. So the Visigoths, actually, let me post a picture. You all know I love pictures. Here is a coin from the Visigoths. And I'm just going to stand here for just a second because I don't want to give away the next thing that we're seeing too soon. So we'll just have to look at this beautiful street while I talk for a minute. Oh, hello, Hillary. Welcome. Happy to have you here. So what we do know about the Visigoths is that they ruled with a very light hand. They adopted the Roman law, Roman legislation, and they adopted a form of Christianity called Arian Christianity, which basically focused on the divinity of Jesus. So the Visigoths, in other words, did not seem to really even notice the Jewish population as being particularly different from any of the other parts of society. They comfortably took over these Roman laws, continued them as normal. However, in year 518, they switched to a king who was no longer just Christian, but he was Catholic. And it was during this time that the Jewish population started to be discriminated against. We don't know exactly why, but it seems that the Visigoths started to see the Jewish population in a new light, if you will. About 100 years later, so that continued, right? They continued to be discriminated against, and this continued about 100 years later, where the king then issued a law that all Jewish people would be forcibly converted to Christianity. The king, his name was King Sisebad, and he didn't really have any historical evidence of good reasons for doing this. In other words, we don't really know why he did it, other than social pressure, basically. There was no economic reason. Even within the church, it forbade forced conversion. Yes, to Catholicism, Robin. And this would be the first of, because he felt like it, pretty much. It was like, well, I will be liked more if I do this by the people who could give me money, by the people who would fund my activities. So, all right, sounds good. All of the Jewish folks, you must now convert. You all know I'm a foodie, sidebar, so let me just show you some of the yummy food as we walk. So this would be the first of 3 times that the Jewish population was forcefully converted, and then just a few years later, I know, doesn't this look delicious? And then just a few years later, they would again be allowed to return and identify as Jewish. So, oh, I love Valencia, where it's a pedestrian-only street that just happens to have a bunch of cars on it. So, yes, conversion had not changed their official identity, although according to the government, anyone who had converted was then forever Christian. So in other words, people were no longer forced to take an oath, or that they were no longer forced to become Jewish or to become Christian, excuse me, but the Jewish folks were no longer allowed to associate with anyone who was not Jewish. They couldn't have meals with anyone who wasn't Jewish. They couldn't celebrate with anyone. They couldn't marry anyone who was not Jewish. They also were told that they could no longer discriminate in matters of food with looks of disgust or anger. So again, this tells us that the Jewish folks who had converted to Christianity or Catholicism were looking at foods that they traditionally did not eat. So they were looking at ham and going, at pork and going, ooh, this, I can't eat this. This doesn't look good. This is not, I can't eat this. And so this led to an addition to that law saying, well, you not only cannot discriminate against food, but you also have to look excited about it. I just think this is so, this is something. This is something. Okay, I'm going to stay factual, but I am right there with you. All very interesting. So the penalty if they broke these rules was, of course, death, naturally. So things only got worse at this point. So subsequent monarchs, they came down harder on those who reverted to their sort of traditional ways, and they tried to force conformity. They were required to eat pork with every meal and recite the Lord's Prayer. And this tells us that the Visigoths, who were in charge, were basically losing control. They were getting very nervous. They were getting very angsty and much too. They were ruling with too much of a forceful hand. And the reason they were getting nervous is because the people were knocking on their doors, and these were not people from the north where they had come from, the other Germanic tribes. These were people from the south, from North Africa, and they were known as the Moors. So for over a century, the Jewish population had been, they were forced to convert, they had their property confiscated, they were told what to eat. And then in year 711, the Moors, the Muslim tribes, showed up, and the Visigoths were no match for their. I'm just dodging children. Don't mind me. They were no match for their. Oh my goodness! Whew. This is a busy place today. I'm sorry. I'm a little distracted. I'm going to move over here. Yes, they were no match for the Moors. That's right. So this basically leads us to assume that when the Moors showed up, what happened to the Jewish people? What did they do? How did they react to the group that was basically attacking the people that had made them suffer for the last 100 years? There were thoughts. Now, okay, mind you, this is all based in research that I have done. I am not siding with one side or the other. Obviously, I am just trying to present all of the facts to you. So there are thoughts that Jewish people handed over the cities to invaders. They literally welcomed them with open arms. Again, there is no evidence of this, but lack of evidence is not evidence of absence. So this is what historians think could have happened, but again, they have no proof that it did or that it did not happen, if that makes sense. So were the Visigoths the allies of the Jewish community? Absolutely not. So perhaps the Jewish population did seek support from anyone who was going against the Visigoths. The only evidence that we have came toward the 8th century, about 100 years after that, for the end of the 8th century rather, where the Jewish community started to make contact with communities outside of the Iberian Peninsula. Basically, we've heard from firsthand accounts sort of how things progressed during this situation. I do want to take us down, sidebar, I do want to take us down the old Jewish quarter. So as we've talked about, there is very little that remains here of the Jewish quarter for reasons I will discuss shortly. But Carrer del Mar, this was the main street of the Jewish community. This was the Juderia,
literally the area of the Jewish community. And there were 3 gates. All of them have been destroyed, but there were 3 gates that were around this area. It was a gated community, and these were the streets of the Jewish communities. So I do have to preface this with, if some of thank you, Elena. If some of you came with me to Cordoba, you will remember very, very small, narrow cobblestone streets. Also, you might have seen them in Granada. Oh, actually, we haven't been to Granada yet, but the very small, narrow street. Oh, to Sagunto, if you came with me there, you remember the archways over the streets. This looks a lot different. This looks, for lack of a better word, like a modern society. And in other words, it is. So we're coming across, there used to be 3 synagogues here. All of them have been destroyed back in the 1500s. But one that I did manage to find the location of was right here. As you can see, this is not a synagogue. This looks nothing like a synagogue. It is an apartment building. The only evidence that we have of this is from old maps and people showing us, yes, this is the Juderia, and one of the synagogues was located right here. Thank you, Pam, much appreciated. The dates we're talking about are the 1500s and the 1600s. So I sort of skipped ahead because I didn't want you to miss this area, but we do have one more large event in Valencian Jewish history that we do have to talk about first. So folks are asking why was it destroyed here and not, say, in places like Cordoba? So that actually leads me to one of the stories that is, it's not funny, but it is a little interesting. So the leader of the Muslim population at this time when the Moors were taking over, he established his capital in Cordoba. So you remember the mezquita, the mosque / cathedral that we saw in May? Absolutely beautiful, right? So this was his capital. He was entrusted with the entire city, and he decided this is going to be the capital of Al-Andalus, which is currently Andalusia. And this is where I am going to build buildings with all of the money that I am accruing. And people are going, how did he get so much money? Well, he basically took it from everyone. He was not very well liked, as you can imagine. And he decided that he had this beautiful, glittering capital with literally piles of gold that he slept next to. Real cool guy. And he hired his most trusted pirate. Yes, you heard that right. His most trusted pirate. And he said, hello, most trusted pirate. I need you to set sail off the coast. They were currently in Italy at this point, but again, he is the leader of the area here in Cordoba, so in Spain. And he said, I need you to set sail off the coast of Italy. They were in Bari. And I need you to go find me some more gold. And the pirate said, okay, I am very professional. Up here, this is the Church of Santa Catalina, to answer your question. And this actually was one of the locations of a synagogue. So the synagogue had been destroyed in the 15th and 16th centuries, and this church was then built after it. But excellent question, though. I mean, it's beautiful, but it's also sad because we don't have evidence of what was here just a few hundred years ago. So he had hired his most trusted pirate, and he said, I need you to go raid the coastal towns. I need you to bring back loot. I need you to bring back gold. My gold reserves are getting a little bit small. And so he set sail off the coast of Bari in Italy, and he went as far as Jerusalem. He found absolutely no boats to raid. He was very sad. So he went around to the Greek islands, he went all around the Mediterranean, and finally he found a boat. And he said, "This is the one I will raid." He got on board and was very sad to discover that the only people on board were four rabbis. And in order to make money from the rabbis, he went around to other coastal towns and said, "I have these rabbis. Would anyone like them? You can buy them from me." And because he was a professional pirate, he needed to get some money from these rabbis. The rabbis did not give away that they were of such special importance to their community, though, because obviously, if they were to give away their importance, the ransom would have been much higher. So they did keep quiet. One was sold in Egypt, another one was sold in Italy. The third one, I do not know where he was sold, but the fourth one made it back here to the Iberian Peninsula, to Spain, to what is now Spain. And with the arrival of this man, who eventually had a son, this was what allowed the Sephardic population to scale to such great heights. In other words, the Jewish population that was here had great importance because of this rabbi that had come here and had a son. Maybe that is where the saying "King's ransom" comes from. Maybe, Lynn, I don't know. So this actually brings us now to the other event that I wanted to discuss with you folks. This was one of the more difficult things that I was trying to figure out how to present. So basically during the Moors were ruling, and then the Christians decided to come back in and take, quote, what was rightfully theirs, of course. Thank you, Sharon, much appreciated. So at this point, this was around the 1200s, and an estimated 2,000 Jewish people were living here. Jewish families, they made up about 9% of the population, and they were working in agriculture, they were craftsmen, they were tax collectors, they were administrators. One was even a chief advisor to the king. So they obviously were, they were integrated in society. And at this point also, in 1244, the Jewish folks were granted the entire eastern quarter of the Santa Catalina Church, which is literally where we are sitting right now. And the entrance right here was known as the Jewish Gate. This led to the Jewish cemetery, which is back this way, if that makes sense. And currently it is a shopping mall. So I did not bring us there because there literally is nothing to see except for an El Corte Inglés, which also I had no idea that there was such history in this area of town, which I feel so shameful. I'm glad that I'm able to share this history with all of you, because I also think it's a lot of things that people even here don't know. Sidebar: I went into a tourist company, like the what do they call, the information company, and I said, "Hi, I'm interested in the Jewish history in town," and she goes, "There is none." And I said, "Sorry?" And she goes, "It was all destroyed. There is literally no evidence of Judaism here in Valencia at all." So I did manage to find a couple more things. So stick with me. I have two more things to show you, which does sort of bring us some hope and even a little bit of giggles, if I do say so myself, in the same way that I giggle at the naughty tour items. So just bear with me on that. You all know who I am. So the in oh yes, so in 1391, about 100 years later, the Jewish folks were then only allowed to live here inside the Juderia, which is the Jewish part of town. They also were they had higher taxes, they had regulations on oaths, they were ordered to wear a signifying cloak and a yellow badge. This is back in the 1200s and the 1300s. This is not during World War II. So in the 1370s, when all of the tensions sort of came to a hilt, the King Peter the Fourth of Aragon, he said, okay, the Jewish folks are only allowed to live here inside the Juderia. About 20 years later, a group of young Christian men infiltrated this quarter. And so, mind you, there were 3 gates that were closed and locked. So they weren't, people were not walking in and out as they are now, right? So a group of young Christian men came in and they attacked the Jewish community. It is known as the Massacre of 1391. It was an anti-Semitic act where Jewish homes were ransacked, robbed, Jewish women were assaulted, if etc., etc. Without getting too graphic, at least 250 people were killed, and this is not including all of the people who survived this situation. And what they wanted basically was to rid Valencia of the Jewish community. And so these young people said, you can either convert to Christianity or leave. We don't care where you go, but you can leave, or we have to kill you. And this historically marked the end of the once very prominent Jewish presence here in Valencia. And just a little bit of interesting, not good, but interesting history to go along with that is that justice never was really served for this situation. The guilty parties came from wealthy, powerful families and Christian families, and the Jewish community was essentially wiped out. Nothing from this quarter survived the massacre of 1391. The 3 synagogues that were here, as we saw, there were apartment buildings now, but no longer a synagogue. The 3 synagogues that were here were either destroyed or turned into churches, such as the Santa Catalina that we just saw. And this was one of the main factors with wiping out the Jewish community. Must they sit in the exact place I want to show you? Really? I guess they must. Okay, well, all right, I'm going to look over here for now so I don't look like I'm walking into this person who's getting out of their car. But I will go up to the statue in just a second. But basically, yeah, I can't believe that he managed to pull into that exact spot of all the places in Valencia. So there was a man here named Juan Luis Vives, and he is a famous theologian, and his family was killed for refusing to convert to Christianity. He later did flee to Belgium, but basically this was started by what was called the Alhambra Decree. So let me post a picture of that. And okay, now we're gonna go look. Oh no, there's a woman. There's a woman. Oh my goodness. Okay, here. We'll look at it this way. This is. Oh, we can see his name. Yay, Juan Luis Viver. So this is the statue of the man, of the theologian whose family was killed. He eventually did escape to Belgium, but this was all because of the Alhambra Decree. And the Alhambra Decree was from 1492, and it basically said you can convert to Christianity or you can leave. And the people who converted were known as the conversos. And these were people who converted during the Inquisition, during the Spanish Inquisition. And there were a number of families who were killed from this. There were literally hundreds of thousands of people who were killed during this time, some of which were because they were Jewish. I do have one more. This is actually a beautiful thing to show you, finally. One more beautiful thing to show you, and then I will bid you farewell. But to bring it back to current history, or to current time in relation to history. Um, we are headed to see the Star of David on the Valencian Cathedral, which I think is very interesting. But currently, now, there is a Jewish population in Spain, in all of Spain, of anywhere between 13,000, 13,000, and 50,000. We don't know how many exactly, because even now, people are hesitant to raise their hand and say, yes, I'm Jewish. And as we can see, history has proven that to be a good way to go about not being persecuted, to say that bluntly. Now, the only evidence that we still have from this time is the house that Juan Luis Viver grew up in, that we saw earlier with the bust and the guy in front of it with the car. So we have that house. We also have the Jewish cemetery, which some of the bones are underneath El Corte Inglés. It's basically Spain's JCPenney, the shopping mall. And then we have the Valencian Cathedral, which is that other church. So, Janielle, excellent question. So we had the Santa Catalina church that we looked at for a long time while I was telling you the story of the massacre. Of course, very, very sad. This is the cathedral, so very close to the Santa Catalina church. And that is because when this cathedral was built back in the 1300s, Santa Catalina was a synagogue. It was not a church. It was a synagogue. So it also, this cathedral, it's a little bit of history for you. It's one of the only sort of smushed cathedrals. You can see the bell tower is right next to the entrance. It's almost curved, because when this was built, see where these trees are right here? There were buildings that were coming up to those trees. So this was one of the most smushed, crowded places in the city center. But when this cathedral was being built, again, 1380s-ish, right before the massacre of 1391. Oh, let me show you the church, just to, like, the outside of the church. Let's go vertical, 3, 2, 1, just so you can see it, because it is very pretty. When this church was being built, this was during the time that the Jewish population had been forced to convert. And let's go back, 3, 2, 1. I know it is pretty, isn't it? And so a lot of the architects who were working on this, the builders who were working on the church, we're going to the other side of it, which actually is also very pretty. So stick with me. I know it's been a tour, shall we say. So as they were working on this building, in the same way that the old silk factory has some inappropriate gargoyles on it. Of course, this is much nicer to look at than the inappropriate gargoyles. But in the same way that the architects were a little bit naughty, they also, the builders for this cathedral, which, yes, Janielle, there is ample evidence that the real Holy Grail is in this cathedral, as well as 11 other locations in Europe, but we won't talk about that. The people get so excited about the cameras. So the architects decided to add a little something of their own to the Valencian Cathedral. And this is the north entrance here. And let me show you, because once you see it, you can never unsee it. And now, mind you, I walk by this cathedral almost every day, and I had never noticed this. But here's the door. Let me get in the good position. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Much appreciated. So here is the north door, and then right above that, you will see the Star of David in the rose window. And isn't that fascinating? I have a picture of what it looks like from the inside. Here you go. And of course, it's beautiful with all of the colors that you can see. And then there's also, do you folks remember coming with me past the Church of St. Nicholas, who I talk about this on the History of SEX tour. He is also the patron saint of Women of the Evening, if you will. We'll talk about that more during that other tour. But that church also has a Star of David in the window. So the one I just posted is a different Star of David in this church. So that brings us to the end of our tour. Because this building is open, I have to show it to you before we leave, because this is one of the prettiest churches I've ever seen. And then I will say goodbye to all of you. Oh yes, please ask questions that I did not answer before. Do you know if there are any Jews living in Valencia now? So the only facts I could find was in all of Spain total, so anywhere between 13,000 and 50, so 13 and 50,000. Look at this church. Look at this. There does seem to be a mass going on, so I'm going to just show you just a short bit, and then we'll make our way out. Okay, let's go out. All right. That brings us to the end of the tour. Thank you all for sticking with me ever so much. Yes, the other tours I researched, but this one I researched. So I'm glad to be able to share it with all of you. So thank you all so much for coming. Thank you all for your donations. Much appreciated as always. And NC, thank you so much for posting the link to my profile. And because we have finally reached 2,000 followers, thank you everyone. I'm so excited. I will be able to schedule the operatic concert. I will schedule it this evening, not for singing this evening, but I will be scheduling it this evening. And oh, thank you everyone. And I didn't know a lot of this either, even though I have talked to so many people, including tour guides and information people at information hubs around the city. So I think this is something that a lot of people actually don't know. Yes, so the operatic concert, it will be me singing live. So prepare yourself. But I'll also be doing some musical theater. So I'll make sure that there are things that we can all sing along to. So Memory from Cats, I Could Have Danced All Night, Till There Was You from The Music Man, all of these beautiful things. Oh, 2003 followers. Oh, how exciting. And then as you all have seen on my schedule, I have added a whole bunch of virtual recaps for the places that I went to in Italy and in Bavaria and in the Alsace region of France. Oh yes, fingernail selfie. Here we go. You like them? So there are. There we go. So the concert will be in my apartment because I have yet to be able to find a place that would allow me to be so loud. But yes, in the apartment, I think we'll do it. And I do have quite the repertoire to share with all of you. Very excited. Oh, thank you for the glasses comment. They are prescription. I literally cannot see you without them. So yes, I am going in real life. I am going to the French Riviera with Harrison. He's getting a tattoo in November, so I'm doing tours in Nice, Antibes, Menton, which is a mix between Italy and France. Beautiful. Cannes, as there's this beautiful castle. That'll have to be a virtual recap though, because I have to go very early in the morning. To Mougins, all of these very tiny but really beautiful places. And yes, so do join if you can. If you can't, I am doing virtual recaps for all of those on different days with different times, so that people who are in different parts of the world hopefully can join one of those. October 15th is the History of Sex tour. Yes, please no children at that tour. To give you an idea, though, my parents do watch these tours, so it's nothing that is too exciting, but the information that I am presenting is not for children. Also, I am heading to see all of the Christmas markets, all of them, in Austria, every single one, in Austria, in Czechia, in Slovakia, and in London in early December. So do follow me for those. Those tours are already posted, but there are some really beautiful places. And I'm doing an Old Town tour and a Christmas market tour at each one. Because of course everyone likes to see the Christmas markets, but the old towns also I think are very important. And for somebody who likes pretty buildings and likes to share pretty buildings with all of you, I'm very excited. Yes, Harrison is out eating tapas. I am so incredibly jealous. Richard, how do I fit all of this in my schedule? Actually, I was going to do a travel tips tour at some point if anyone would be interested in those. And so I had asked at one of my previous tours if folks would be interested in seeing my virtual recaps of places that I visited in South America. So Peru, Machu Picchu, Chile, Uruguay, Argentina, Buenos Aires. Oh, okay. I hope so, because I think I'm going to post them. Oh, and Iceland and Santorini and Crete. All of these beautiful, beautiful things. Oh yes, he might have come home. So Lynn, you're right. That might be him. Good. He'll have a nice full belly, and I'll get to just smell it on his face and get all jealous. All right, so thank you all so much for coming today. This was one of the tours I was actually a little bit worried about, so I appreciate everyone being so welcoming with this kind of situation. So much appreciated. Maybe he got me a doggy bag. Ooh, that would be nice. Speaking of our cats, by the way, Evie is doing much, much better. She is having regular movements of the insides, if you will, and she is sleeping like a cute little girl now. So I feel like we finally have a cat instead of a raccoon. All right, everyone. Oh, if you'd like to follow me on Instagram, I will post my handle for you, and also the really beautiful church, Santos Juanes, St. John's Church, that we often look at right across from the old silk factory. That actually has the statues of the 12 tribes of Judaism, of Jerusalem, in it. So here's a picture of it, which I think is very cool. We didn't get to see it today, but I just wanted to share the picture with you. So thank you, everyone. I look forward to hopefully seeing you soon. Also, I added a medieval fair tour. They're doing a medieval fair this week, and also a parade here in Valencia of the beautiful, beautiful dresses that look like this. I will explain all of the why it's happening, but do come to those. The medieval fair is this Friday, and the parade is this coming Sunday, so a week from today. So tune in if you are interested. Yes, okay. I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you, everyone. See you next time.